Τούτου χαριν, for this cause, but is this and through favor of. Given charis is not in the nominative case, but rather accusative case. For the noun charis is employed as a direct object of a preposition for this, Tούτου, and therefore charis, favor, advantage to the benefit of someone, and promote over another, and charιν, grace, a new beginning, and in understanding, to righteous fruitfulness, nun sophit. From chanen, show favor, pity, and from chana, to pitch and encamp, to grow and end, and also declining or slanting rays at evening that are oblique and of a slanted direction, and causing the sky to become more colorful. That's why in the evenings and at mornings you have the skies being red, orange, and even of grayish pink, and is caused by this slanting rays, allowing the light to diffuse more broadly, and therefore to appreciate the richness there is in the light. For it's not just white, it is all the colors, all the beauty, and in this case we have grace, charιν. You would be interested to know, how do we differentiate, between mercy, compassion, and all that? Well, there is words for each, and depending on the context, in this case we have grace, charis, and charιν as an accusative case. But also you have chesed, loving kindness, and rachem, compassion. As when a woman has a newborn baby, is like a strenuous new living being living inside her, but however is through compassion. Of this head a wall in the womb, rachem. And therefore, for this favor, or through this favor, and is to whom? It is to Tito. This being out of the 3 last letters before Paulus died, Paulus wrote this letter to Tito before he was beheaded by the Roman Emperor Nero, and also when Rome was devastated by a fire around year 67 or 64. And we read that of Titus, the verse before this one, Tito, ne sio tekno, mine own son, or genuine son, κατά koinein pistin, charis, helios, ea reini apo Theou patros, kai Κυρίου Ιησοῦ Χριστοῦ to sotῆρος ἡμῶν. According to the common faith, koinein pistin, charis, grace, and is mentioned again in this verse now. But however, concerning Titus, is of Latin origin, meaning nurse. And given that his name bears witness of his works, as he was in Crete, we haven't covered Crete before, but before jumping there, we read that his name meaning that of nurse or a rearer, given his cherished care administered in love to help others grow, develop, and succeed. For he was an ethne Christianon, a Gentile Christian, and Paulus' companion in some of his journeys, and therefore as a rearer, in that he nourished saints with Paulus' Evangelion of Jesús Christū, as to help them grow in grace and knowledge of Κυρίου ἡμῶν, Jesús Christū, sotῆρος ἡμῶν. But what happened to him is that Paulus, κατέλιπον σε, I left you, as leaving behind and forsake by ceasing to care for it and loosen bands. And you say, how come that Paulus would leave him that he may be a rearer of others? How can he be an example? Well, our main mission in life is not that people will look unto us, but that people will look unto God, for he is the only one who will be our provider. And connected, ozef. However, κατά, according, after, against, and leipo, lack and be wanting. And now Azev, a reference in Yeshayah, have saved, Yashe, Yah, 54:7. It reads, for a small moment have I forsaken thee, Ezev dich, but uverechemim gedolim ekevdzeik, but with mercies great I will gather you. And didn't we mention mercies before? This is compassions rather. For English is limited in how to express each word, because for both chesed and rachem, mercy is connected, but to differentiate them, in this case is compassion. And therefore, azev, forsaken you, ayin, as in putting our eyes in divine providence, given an extended yod that descends from heaven, and then has an embedded zayin as it follows, and therefore equipping Tito for the body, the building of the body of Christu, in Crete. And this is the largest Greek island in the Mediterranean, and is the most fertile island of the Mediterranean archipelago or Aegean Sea, and is directly south of Greece mainland, and has been peopled since deep antiquity, for it was home to the Minoans, but rather Keftori, 4th millennium BC, until 1420 BC. And we read in Bereshith 10:14, Ve'eth Petchusim, Ve'eth Kesluchim, Esher Yatsu, out of whom Misham came Pelishtim. These are the Philistines.
Pesky Philistines.
Ve'eth Kefturim, the ones that lived in Crete. And for your information, Philistine means immigrants, and they bear to the very name for which they went all across the Mediterranean going east and established close to Israel, and they were a pain to them. And is the same place where you have the Gaza Strip up to this day. But out of there, before the Pelishtim, there were there Keftorim, and Crete from Crete's judge, and Crino to separate or distinguish. And for Keftori, meaning crown, chaplet, and circlet. So you have Crete related to Koreth from Bereshith 17:14, and the uncircumcised man-child, whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised. Veni kurta he nefesh hehu meyemeiha, and shall be cut off that person from his people. Eth berithi hefer, my covenant he has broken. And therefore getting rid of this Keftori, meaning crown, chaplet, and circlet. And this is a decorated metal band worn around the head. And a chaplet is a form of Christian prayer which uses prayer beads, like the rosary, the string of beads used in counting prayers, especially by Catholics, as free from provincial prejudices or attachments. But are they, given that they are attached to these prayer beads?
No, we're not.
Yes, you are.
Where was I? 1 Hail Mary, 2 Hail Mary, 3, 4, 5... I have to start all over again.
Keep praying like that, and Theos will not give you gentle rain, but cast on you frozen pearls upon your head. For they have a lot of Mariology, or have a very strong Marian element, and therefore robbing Jesús' glory, and all prayers to him and him alone. However, there is one chaplet of divine mercy, as an example of how they structure their prayers.
Excuse me. Let me borrow this.
That you have is not that it's wrong, because when you read through it, it's giving glory to God and praying to Jesus from the heart. you have the chaplet of divine mercy. And given that this verse, it relates to Rachem, but also Charis, you have the prayer structured this way. You have the opening prayer, then a second opening prayer, and then to the eternal Father, and for the sake of his sorrowful passion, Holy God, and then closing prayer. But beware of these chaplets and circlets, because they can be a crown, and from which also the Philistine came from, and the Crete. This chaplet and flower arrangement consisting of a circular band of foliage or flowers for ornamental purposes can be a burden, because you're no longer praying in the grace as Paulus is focusing Tūtu χαριν. For this favor shown to you, I have left you so that only as thou lookest unto God, he would extend his yaw to you and adorn you, equip you for the building of the body of Christu. Hinata lειποντα, that what is lacking or be wanting. And we covered this already. Κατέλιπον, κατά and λειπο, therefore is the same word, λειπο, lacking, be wanting. And therefore, ordain, to help, to hoe, and dek, given ayin, now as a well of dalet, the mind, and reish being poor of the knowledge of God. So therefore what he ought to do, if it's lagging, is to dig it. Ordain, ἐπιδιορθώσῃ, that thou shouldest set in order, epi upon, onto, on, and orthos, upright and straight. We could consider mιᾶς as that of a battle line. Wait! I didn't mean that. Stop fighting! Or directing an army. And a reference is in ShemuEl 39:37. The pure candlestick with the lamps thereof, even with the lamps to be set in order, and all the vessels thereof, and the oil for light. And from mιᾶς, arrangement, plan, and preparation. And you say, hey, we covered this already. Remembering Job, who was preparing what to present before Tehunah, all his complaints. And beware of that. And we also covered with Numa. He found it empty, swept, and adorned. Orech. But now he's telling Tito, don't do that. Now do kun, prepared, fixed, and to erect, to stand upright. As from orthos, upright and straight, and therefore is a perfect match is kun. And we have a reference in 2 Chronicles 29:35. It reads, and also the burnt offerings were in abundance, with the fat of the peace offerings, and the drink offerings for every burnt offering. So the service of Beit Yehovah was set in order. So it's not that we come before God and say, these are my complaints, I fixed it all and set in order. No, we do service unto Yehovah, unto his house, that he may be well pleased. Charis, remember Charis. So kun, in that phrase, vetikun evodeth Beit Yehovah, and set in order for the service of the house of Yehovah. And we picked also this one because it's connected to what follows. Kai καταστήσῃς, and ordain, set, put, and appoint. Κατά, according, and histemi, establish, set, and stand. And related to cum. They sound similar, doesn't it? But now this is cum, starting with letter kuf, then vav with the milupim, and now letter mem sofit. Isn't this amazing how everything is structured? We have a reference in Devarim 28:36. It reads, Yehovah shall bring thee, ve'et melkecha, and the king, esher hakim alecha el goy, whom you set over you to a nation, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve Elohim Echerim, gods others, Eads Va'aven, wood and stone. And therefore set in order is kum, according to divine order, different from kareth, that we cover from Crete. And we did not cover it. Here we go. And kareth is to cut down, to cut off of a body part, in this case the foreskin, or part of a garment, so as to subdue, to put down this head of this tav, judgment and law. And now coming back, kum, according to divine order, and judgment, not like judgment and law, now is divine order and judgment, to add vav with the milupim and fill with the concealed waters. So therefore you fill the vessel from kun, that container, towards fruitfulness. And therefore like becoming prepared for the service of Jehovah. But now is to set in order, ἐπιδιορθώσῃ, kai καταστήσῃς, and establish, appoint, ordain, κατά, πόλin, according to the cities, or in every city, from polus, many great, encampment and post, and from to awake and raise, and a city that being a place of excitement or terror. Given is to watch of the congregation at all beginnings, or who have the power to procreate, reish. Given that when there are many people, there are many babies that are coming, and therefore more people coming, polus and but therefore appointing in every city presbüterus, elders.
Maybe later.
And this is presbus, one who is older than you, and therefore having great experience about life. And when you are experienced with God, you are adorned with white hair, but that depicts his wisdom. Zakein, Zayin, 7, wholeness, and Kuv, imitating God, in the understanding of his word, given the experience, and Nun is doubling of 7, Zayin, 14, therefore fullness. So whole, imitating God, representing him, and that of fullness. Hos ego, just as I, dietαξάμην, have commanded you, prescribed you, dia, by, through, for this cause, and tasso, appoint, ordain, and determined. And we cannot use cum, appoint, because this is like prescribing already, and charging. And for this one, given appointing elders and heads, we are going to consider instead tzava. In the first book of ShemuEl, chapter 25, verse 30, and it shall come to pass, when Jehovah shall have done le'edoni, according to all the good that he had spoken concerning thee, and shall have appointed thee v'tzivecha le'nagid el Israel, have appointed thee ruler over Israel, tzava. And therefore in hunting fallen or broken vessels, this lost sparks of souls, with a hook, vav, with this heads, reish, the presbüterus, zakein. And this is connected to the following verse. Verse 6, these presbüterus are to be blameless, are to be husband of one wife, and having faithful children, not accused of riot or unruly. Eitis ėstin anekleitos, mιᾶς gunaikos anior, tekna echon pista, mei en kategoria asotias anupotakta. And these are the people that Jehovah is looking for the service of his house. We started with Paulus saying, through this favor, charin, chena, that even though I left you, you are not to leave others who are in desperate need of you that they may grow, but I'm leaving you for a reason, because you have reached a level of maturity for which you can stand on your own, that you know that you set your eyes up high, not straight before you or behind or right or left, up there, where God with his yard extend him and equip you to build a church. That although you be in Crete, with people that overvalue filthy lucre, beware of this crownlets, of this chaplets, of this circlets, of this crowns, that you may rather be cut off, Crete, because according to judgment and law, you could be setting yourself with burdens that Jehovah has not put. And for the things that are lacking, fill it up, first by kun, ἐπιδιορθώσῃ, set in order, to stand upright, and appoint cum, with this container already set in order, to fill it up with the concealed words of all these experienced presbυτέρους, those who are adorned, whole and full, and to imitate God, but in a good way, that in all cities and at all beginnings to be awakened and alert, seeking for the lost souls, these lost sparks, and to bring about a revival. Tzava. And we truly thank you, Jehovah. O Theos, o hupsistos, Eucharistia, κατά koine pistin, charis, helios, reini, from you, Theou Patros, ἡμῶν, kai Κυρίου Ιησοῦ Χριστοῦ, του σωτῆρος ἡμῶν, to exercise chain, charis every day. We look unto you, for you will equip us every day, not to be empty or lacking, but to be set in order, upright, to do you service. For we covered a long time ago the same reference we used today from Devarim 28, verse 47, that we may serve Jehovah Eloheinu with a joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things that thou hast equipped us, in seeking for leaders, in seeking for experienced people who are whole, who are full of thee, full of life, and to seeking lost souls, lost sparks, and bring about a great flame of praise and light to you. Kun and cum, ready and up for you. Amen.
Although thou hast been made strong to serve at Baeth Jehovah, burnt offerings will be in abundance, with fat of the peace offerings and the drink offerings, for every burnt offering. But would Kohen be enough to flay all the burnt offerings? What garland or crown should they wear? With whom will they be enjoined to help and complete the work? For the priest has to be sanctified and be upright in heart. Elohim Hechino la'am, that Hidavar takes place at once, and may all rejoice, for Chazek Yah. Tūtu χαριν, κατέλιπον σε in Crete. Ήνατα λειποντα ἐπιδιορθώσαι, καί καταστήσεις κατά πόλιν, πρεσβυτερους ως εγωσόι διεταξάμην. ΕΣΤιν ανέκλειτος, μιας κονικός ανέλ. Tegna er om pista νέη κατηγορία, ο σωτήρος αιωνού ποτατά. Τίτο γνήσιο τέκνο, κατακοηνήν πίστην, χάρις, έλεος, ειρήνη, από Θεού Πατρός και Κυρίου Ιησοῦ Χριστοῦ, του σωτήρος,